And we're back now with author and historian David McCullough. His new work, The American Spirit, is out Tuesday. Welcome. We're very glad to have you here, David. These are your speeches over time. Is there a through line in these speeches? Is there a message that's kind of you see in a lot of them together?
Yes, I think we need to remember who we are and how we got to be where we are and how much we owe to those who went before us. And there's much to be learned from them, much to be learned from history. We are not doing very well, or not doing as well as we should, in raising our oncoming generations with an appreciation of the story of their country. I don't think there's any aspect of education that matters more to effective leadership than a knowledge of what went before us. The most effective presidents we've had, for example, have all been avid readers, students of history.
In terms of history, let's start with the leaders first. Does it give them a sense of the craziness of the moment will pass, so I'll stick to what I'm doing because in the past other leaders were criticized in their moment and I'll be okay? How do they use it in practical terms, that history?
Well, for one thing, they understand how our system works, our government, how that all three-part system and so forth. But history is about people. History is human. Jefferson said, when in the course of human events. The operative word there is human. And so if you want to understand people and how people behave and how people can be responsible or how people can be courageous and so forth, read history. History is not about people who lived in the past. Nobody ever lived in the past. They lived in the present, but it was their present, not ours. And they didn't walk around in their 18th century clothes saying, aren't we picturesque? And what do you think people make of us because we dress this way? If you read into the life of someone like George Washington or Martin Luther King or Margaret Chase Smith in the Congress, you draw not just guidance from that, but inspiration. And the one quality that is prevalent in so many of our best, most important leaders, our most inspiring examples, is they do not quit. Perseverance.
A lot of people who are detractors of the current president, or even those who are supporters of the current president, think that things are in a kind of crazy state, in a chaotic state.
Yes.
Now, the president's supporters like that. Is this moment an aberrant moment, or is this pretty much we've had moments of chaos in American history and we get through them?
Well, I think we're living in what is clearly a dangerous time, not just because of international tensions and clouds hanging over, but because we're sort of groping with how to repair an engine that we don't know how to even take apart. You have to understand the patient that you're tending to, and you have to know something about medicine. And yes, we've had times where we wanted to change things, but we've also had times that have been more unsettling, more worrisome, more painful, more costly than what we're going through now. And we think this is just so bleak and unpromising because we really don't know what we've been through before and how we came through it. I like to tell people about the influenza epidemic, 1918-19. Mm-hmm. 500,000 Americans died in that epidemic. If that were happening today, with proportionate to our population, be 1.5 million people would die in less than a year. But they got through it, just as we got through the Civil War, which is the most catastrophic experience of our story. We got through the Depression, 2 world wars. I mean, Churchill said had it wonderfully. He said, we haven't journeyed this far because we're made of sugar candy.
The final question, is there an American character? And if so, what is it?
At best, honesty, courage, strength of character, and faith in our way of life, belief that what those predecessors of ours, those pilgrims, those pioneers, worked so hard to attain is something that we are obligated to know about and also not just to sustain, but to improve. Make yourself useful. Don't boast about yourself. Don't get too full of yourself. Be kind, be modest. In the White House, in the mantelpiece, in the state dining room, there is quotation carved into the marble from a letter written by John Adams to Abigail, his first night as president in the White House. And he wrote the letter in which he said, "May none but honest and wise men ever rule under this roof." It's still there. Kennedy had it carved into the marble. Roosevelt carved it in first in wood, and then Truman preserved it when he was president and they were redoing the White House. But I think what's best about that line is that he puts honesty first. May none but honest and wise men ever rule under this roof. And I think that's one thing that we Americans really want, is honesty, not just in a president, but in everybody we live with, work with, and have a good time with.
David McCullough, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll be back in a moment.